Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, today we are going to do another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck. Now, you may recall about a year ago now, I received a treasure trove of old family recipes from my mom. This is one of those recipes, however, this one doesn't seem to have actually come from family. This one appears to have come out of the newspaper. But I remember having this a lot of times as a kid. I really enjoyed it, and this is going to be the first time I'm getting a chance to make it. What we're going to do today is to make chocolate mint brownies. Let's look at the ingredients. So these are the ingredients for our chocolate mint brownies. We're going to use some milk, some chopped nuts, in this case I'm using walnuts, a little bit of salt, granulated sugar, flour, butter, eggs, a little green food coloring, some pure peppermint extract, some unsweetened baker's chocolate, some semi-sweet chocolate morsels, and some powdered sugar. Now, with all the recipes I prepared for these vlogs, I actually end up having many of the ingredients already to prepare them, which makes it a lot easier. You don't have to do a lot of shopping. But the recipe called for peppermint extract, and I had some mint extract, but I didn't have peppermint extract. Imagine my surprise when I saw it's 91% alcohol. Yum, yum. 91% alcohol, that's like 180 proof for those of you doing the math. My understanding is it's not even legal to sell alcohol that's more than 80 proof. So it's actually kind of a small wonder you can even buy that. So the first step we're going to do is we are going to melt 3/4 of a cup of butter and 3 ounces of the baker's chocolate. Now there's 2 ways to do this. They recommend that you can use the double boiler method. What that basically means is you have one pot, a larger pot filled with boiling water, and then you just basically put the smaller pot into the larger pot. The goal here is you don't want to burn any of this. The other option, though, they say you can do is just cook it on a very low heat. So I'm going to just do that method. We're going to cook things at the lowest temperature, and we're going to keep it moving until it's all kind of liquid and blended together. Now, while I wait for the butter and the sugar to melt, I'm going to prepare the other half of the brownie mixture, which is going to be 1.5 cups of sugar, and we're going to start by putting in 3 eggs that I've kind of blended together a little bit, and we're going to put that in the blender or in the mixer, and we're going to beat that until it's kind of a light color, until everything's kind of blended together. And then once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to slowly add the flour, the salt, and the nuts. And I've already ground up the nuts into little pieces in my food processor, so that's all ready to go. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to turn this off here. Normally I'd do this with 2 hands, but you know the story. I've got to shoot a video at the same time. So I'm going to mix in a little bit of the flour. That's probably about 1/3 of it right there. Put it in, mix it a little bit until it all blends together. Put in a little bit more, another 1/3 of it probably. Blend it a little bit more. And then we'll put the rest in. Blend it a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to grab my walnuts. We'll just throw those in there. That's about about 3/4 of a cup of walnuts there. And we're just going to let that mix for a little while we finish up doing the chocolate. Catch up with you in a few. Now while that's all happening, I am going to set my oven, preheat my oven to 350 degrees. And then by the time we get this all mixed together, it'll be ready to go in. Alright, chocolate's all ready to go, so I'm going to stop the blender. I keep calling it a blender, it's a mixer. And we're going to pour the chocolate in. I'm going to put this down for a second because I'm going to use a rubber scraper because I want to get all that out of there. Now we're going to put that back in, blend it all together again here, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. Next, I'm going to coat my 9x13 cooking pan with a generous coating of cooking spray. Maybe it's not going to be that generous because it sounds like I'm almost out, but you have to use your imagination here. Yeah, I think we'll be all right. All right, that's good to go. Now we're going to take our brownie mix and we're going to put it into the bowl. And then everything just kind of goes on in here. Want to make sure we get every last drop out of it there, because this is the good stuff. Alright, now all we gotta do is just wait for the oven to get ready. And 3 seconds after I said that, the oven tells me it's ready. How's that for timing? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the oven, put our brownie mix inside, and we are gonna cook that for 20 to 25 minutes. I'm gonna start at 20 minutes because I can always go in and say it needs to be a little bit more. You don't want to overcook it, right? See you in 20 minutes. All right. I actually did end up going 25 minutes on this, but that's fine. Now we're going to let it bring it out. Set it down for a little while, and what we need to do now is let it cool, because next thing we're going to do is put the frosting on, and the frosting kind of works best when the brownies have had a chance to cool, because otherwise when you're spreading the frosting, what you'll end up doing is pulling the top off of the brownies because they're still a little bit soft. So I'll catch up with you in a little bit. They recommend waiting an hour or hour and a half. I'm going to probably let it cool a little bit, and then we'll put it in the fridge to make it cool faster. But I'll catch up with you in a little bit on that. Alright, so I am ready now to make my frosting. And basically the frosting is a 1/4 cup of butter, which I've creamed, which basically means I've just softened it and mashed it up with a fork. Some powdered sugar, in this case 2 1/4 cups of powdered sugar. And then I'm also going to add 3 tablespoons of milk, 5 drops of green food coloring, and 1 1/4 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. Now I just put that all in the cup, so I got green milk with a highly peppermint flavor to it. So I'm going to mix this all together, and we're going to stir it up, and this is going to become our frosting. Now, one of the things that's always blown me away about powdered sugar is how quickly it turns into liquid. Because just with a couple of tablespoons of liquid, we are going to get, we're going to liquefy all of this powdered sugar. So I'm going to do that, and I'll catch up with you in a minute, and I'll show you what we got. And that's what the final product looks like. So I'm going to mix this onto my brownies right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pour this onto the brownies and make sure I get every last drop out of it with a rubber scraper, and then we will kind of spread it around on the brownies and get a good coverage. I'll catch up with you in a minute. Alright, there's my frosted brownies. Like I basically said, I just poured all the frosting out of the mixing bowl onto the brownies, and then just used a spoon to spread it around and separate it. Now we got one more stage to go here, and that's going to really add to the flavor. So let me show you what comes next. Alright, what I have now is half a cup of the semi-sweet chocolate morsels and 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to just kind of melt that all together. I'm just going to nuke that in the microwave. It'll take 45 seconds or a minute, and I'll show you what happens next. Alright, so it did take about a minute, and I've got my butter and my chocolate chips all melted and nice and liquidy, and now I'm just going to kind of spread this all over the place. This is going to really give it its punch. Yummy, huh? Oh yeah. Gonna get in there with a rubber scraper and get every last drop out of there. Alright, that's our final product. Now the recipe says let it set for a while, because everything will kind of, the frosting will get a little bit more thick, and the chocolate will also kind of get solid too, because we want that, because otherwise right now if you eat it now it's going to be a mess. So in order to help it set up, I'm going to actually throw it in the fridge for a little while. So we'll come back a little later and do our taste test. Alright, it's time for our taste test here, as the all-important part of the cooking vlog. Now the truth is I've had these before, so I know exactly what I'm getting into. But some people apparently like to see me eat, so here we go. Yep, just as I remember them. It's got a good chocolate flavor. It kind of reminds me like of a Klondike bar, if you're into that, because it's got the chocolate, it's got kind of the peppermint flavor, and it's a very sweet, very tasty dish. I definitely recommend these. These bring back a lot of memories from my childhood, because my mom made these all the time, and they are really tasty. So I'll put the recipe down below in the description section. Check them out if you're so inclined. And other than that, I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit.